Intuition is the ability to understand something instinctively without the need of conscious reasoning. Intuition is the superpower I feel we all should be making more use of. Albert Einstein used to call it the highest form of wisdom, and I agree. Intuition has also taught me that nagging feeling that something's just not right will not go away until we listen to it. We can, of course, ignore it at first because it's a very subtle nudge, but then we'll just start noticing that it'll start manifesting around us, maybe in form of people who'll start bringing us messages that seem random but touch us deeply. If we then choose to dismiss those messages, we'll notice that feeling inside of us will just start getting stronger, and it'll manifest as stress or even disease inside of our bodies. So my suggestion is start listening to your intuition and start training yourself to hear that subtle voice. I wrote a best-selling book, as you know, called How to Use Your Intuition to Change Your Life, because intuition was that key that I was missing for so many years. I was always listening to other people, hearing their opinions, and there's nothing wrong in that. But how do you know what's right for you? And I noticed that where I was going, other people's opinions weren't really going to help me. I had to find that deep-seated knowledge inside of myself to know what's right for me. When do I say yes? When do I say no? So in my workshop at the end of April in Holland, where you can join either in person or via live stream, I'm going to be walking you through the 5 steps to strengthen your intuition. So we'll learn how it's so important to step out of the buzz and learn how to calm our minds quickly. Then I'll teach you how to say no gracefully and why it's so important to forgive and release joyfully so that we can actually grab those lessons that many maybe painful past experiences have taught us and take those into the future rather than a whole bunch of grudges or sabotage. Then I'll show you how to own your desires, because your desires are actually the rocket fuel that'll take you closer to your dreams and goals. And when we've done those 4 steps, we can actually tap into the universe so that you can receive those messages, that guidance that is right for you. I really hope you'll be able to make time for this magical day we'll be spending together so that we can clear past sabotage, we can clear limiting beliefs, and we can actually all tune into that highest wisdom. I have also learned that when we don't listen to our intuition, the repercussions are pretty painful. So I'd like to spare you that pain and help you listen, because that listening takes a bit of training. Because at first we might feel a whole bunch of emotions. We might feel confused between our body's emotions, then the voice of our heart, the voice of our mind. How do you know what intuition is? Well, it's not that hard. Actually, all of us are intuitive. All of us have access to our quantum intuition. And I feel that is what so many of us are maybe right now missing. I've also learned that when I do listen to my intuition, it's at first maybe even a little scary because we don't have everything figured out before we start on the journey. Sometimes it's just a knowing I've got to do this, but I don't know how. And that is right so, because it's not always easy, but it's definitely always worth it. I'll give you an example from my life. About 2 years ago, I kept getting the message, you've got to change the roof of your house. You've got to change the roof of your house. And I kept getting these dreams of fire. I was thinking, this doesn't make any sense. Our roof is perfectly good. Why would we change it? But then Grace started getting those messages too. She started dreaming about fires happening in our house. So I thought, okay, let's trust intuition, as we always have, and let's tune into that and actually change the roof of our house. So that's not a little thing to do, right? But Roy and I both decided that this was worth following. So we had the roof of our house, which, as I said, was perfectly good, changed to a storm-proof steel for Europe. We were teaching, and then suddenly we got the message that there had been a strong storm, not a hurricane, but a strong storm in Asheville, and the lightning had struck our house. Later on, the builder told us if we didn't have the roof that we have now, the steel roof, our house would have burnt down. Imagine this, when lightning struck, it was so strong that it actually bent the metal of the top of the chimney where the lightning struck. Not only that, lightning struck so hard that it went through the chimney and then appeared as a huge fireball right in our living room. Now, here's how beautiful intuition is. It kept us so safe that not only did the house not burn down, but my daughter and my mom, who were in the house at that moment, stayed safe. They were on the couch, and just a meter away from them, this huge fireball appeared. So I've learned intuition is always right, even if we don't understand it in the moment. So in Holland, we'll be able to spend an entire day showing you how you can use this knowledge in your everyday life, how you can keep taking these 5 steps to be able to tune in, so that when you're faced with a decision that you need to make, whether it's in your job or in your relationship, you don't have to go around and ask a bunch of people for their opinions, but you can tune into yourself and know what's right for you. Wouldn't you agree? That's kind of important. So I hope you'll make that time and spend that day with me, and so we can share this superpower with each other. The other thing I'd like to tell you is that in March, Roy and I are giving a beautiful workshop in Holland called Unshakeable Faith. And I feel that's kind of a precursor to the Quantum Intuition Workshop. Why? Because what do we need to be able to follow our intuition most? I say it's unshakable faith. We need that trust to know, yes, this is right for me, even if it seems weird. So in the Unshakable Faith workshop, we're going to flex that muscle, and you're going to learn what it feels like to have that unshakable faith. We'll also activate that unshakable faith gene, as I call it, inside of you, so that you can really make those decisions coming from a place of trust and power rather than fear. Does that sound good to you? Well, I'm really looking forward to being in Holland and to be closer to our European audience and to be able to hug you in person and to be able to share all that we have learned over these past years. So much has changed. And if we hadn't had intuition and unshakable faith, I don't think we would be where we are right now. Hi, Marone. Hi, Natalie. It's so good that you're joining me. I'd also like to tell you that I'm having a bunch of fun here in Salzburg teaching children. So I've just started rolling out my Joyful Kids program, where I teach children how to access their emotional intelligence and strengthen their intuition. Because kids are super intuitive, but so often we take that away from them with all the conditioning and the rules that we give them, because that's where we're usually coming from. So when children learn to access their intuition and trust their intuition, and then also learn to be able to manage their emotions, understand emotions in a better way, I feel we're setting them up to become the future leaders that this planet really needs. Because we have enough people following their ego and all kinds of other voices. Isn't it time we listen to that highest knowledge? I don't think Albert Einstein was wrong when he said intuition is the highest wisdom we all have. And I know that every single one of you is intuitive, but sometimes we've just forgotten that skill, or we've tuned out of what we really know. So now it's time to tune in again, to create unshakable faith inside of you that you deserve that life of your dreams. Because, you know, if you're dreaming about something, if you have that desire in you, it's there for a reason. And it's not there to punish you. It's actually there to encourage you to take the steps towards your goals, to make it happen. Because let's face it, we have this life right now. And to make the best out of this life, we need to be following our own purpose, our own mission. And I've noticed by coaching and teaching thousands of people by now that that is what most people are lacking, is that what is it that I'm supposed to be doing? That feeling of purpose in life. When we don't have a feeling of purpose in life, it's often easy to feel depressed and frustrated and really, really stressed. And that's not necessary, because if you have the dream, you also have the tools to make it happen, even if you don't yet know how. I actually think that when we get our messages from intuition, it's very often in a state where we have no idea how to make it happen. Again, here example from my own life. When I got the message that I need to start working with children, I heard it and I liked it because I love working with children, but I didn't know how to do that because our whole business is actually set around adults. But then I decided, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to decide that this is what I need to do now. So when I made this rather drastic move of moving our entire family to Austria for 6 months so that we can not only be closer to our European audience, but also so I could start teaching with children, we did not know exactly how we were going to do this all. We just knew it was important. And now that I am here, I'm seeing the amazing benefits from this already, although I've only been doing it for just over a week. The joy that I get from those children when they discover, oh, I actually know more than I thought. Oh, it is important to listen to what's going on inside of me. I'm not crazy just because I have all these emotions. That is just priceless for me. And I know that by teaching the children of this world, we'll be able to create a better world for all of us. And I feel every single child on this planet deserves to know about intuition, how to manage emotion, how to find stillness. So yes, we meditate together. And if kids can meditate, you can do it too. There's so many myths around meditation. I think there's so many myths around spirituality and intuition especially. And it doesn't need to be that way because, as I said, intuition is a skill we all have, and that highest knowledge is out there for grabs. We just need to learn how to tune into it. So let me show you and let me teach you those 5 steps to strengthen your intuition so that you can also have unshakable faith in yourself. Does that sound good? Good. So do you have any questions? Is there something you would like to know about intuition and this superpower? Is there something that I can help you with? If so, then just tap it into the comments and I'll be happy to answer it. Meanwhile, let me tell you more about the Joyful Kids program. What I wanted to create was a program that would work in any country, in any language, regardless of what background these children or their parents have. And I'm really proud to say that the Joyful Kids program is a program that uses something that we all have. What is it that we all have? Well, number one is we all have a consciousness, something that is noticing something, right? Second thing we all have is a body. We might, maybe some of us be missing some limbs, but we have a body, right? And the third thing that we have is our breath. So if we are able to use those 3 ingredients, consciousness, body, and breath, to create change and awareness inside of us, then that is something every single one of us can do. So the Joyful Kids program is created around these 3 tools we all have, and around the idea that we should be able to communicate and connect with each other even if we don't share the same language. Because if we can do that, we can also create peace with each other. We can create connection across borders, across religious beliefs. Regardless of where we come from, we all have that innate intuition inside of us, and we all have that desire to have a happy life. And I know that when we're tuned into our intuition, we're just happier and more peaceful. So in the Joyful Kids program, we use tapping, emotional balance. We use the awareness of our own bodies to access that idea inside of us. What am I feeling right now? How strong is this feeling? And to know that we have a power over us, that we can change this. I think so often we think we're stuck with what we have and we don't know how to change the state that we're in. But when we change our state, we change everything around us. So the Joyful Kids program is a really fun and easy to use program that I desire to teach to thousands of people around this world so that we can spread it really, really quickly and create that change on this planet that I feel we need. Because if we look at the planet right now, we have soaring high depression rates. We have a lot of mental illness that is unfortunately increasing. There's a bunch of conflict. There's enough adversity. So when we have such high levels of adversity, I feel it's not only high time to change something, but it's also time to see adversity as something that we can not only conquer, but we can grow stronger through. Because look at it. Some people go through incredible adversity, but come out stronger, come out the heroes of their own journey. And then there are other people who go through adversity and then end up crushed and broken. And I think the difference is knowing how to deal with that adversity, how to overcome challenges, how to deal with stress. And right now, I do not think that's what we're teaching our children. We're teaching our children in schools a lot of frontal knowledge. We're teaching them a lot of maths, and that's all good, right? But we're not teaching them the core of what it means to be a human. And when we teach them those essential life skills, I think we're setting them up for a better future. So I'm really, really happy to be able to see this Joyful Kids program in action right now. I'm teaching 3 to 6-year-olds and having a lot of fun and noticing that they feel so empowered when they notice that they have control over their lives. They have control over the state that they're in, because that is the control that you do have. You can't change people around you, but you can change the way you think about something. You can change the way you feel about something. And when we do, we create the change that we actually desire, and often a better change that we could even think of. I'm sorry you don't understand anything, Maria. I wish I could speak Italian to explain it all in Italian. But here's the good news. We're also coming to Italy. So just in a few weeks, we're going to be in Italy teaching the Quantum Voyage 2. And the Quantum Voyage 2 is ideal for anybody who wants to increase their levels of happiness in life, and anybody who's desiring to create and manifest from a heart level. For in the Quantum Voyages, we take you on beautiful guided meditational journeys where you're able to access that ideal timeline, that timeline where you are healthy and happy and successful. For when we are connected to that timeline, it is so much easier to bring it into our everyday lives. So Roy and I will be teaching 4 days of Quantum Voyage where you'll be able to learn how to dive deep into meditative states, whether you've never meditated before or whether you're an expert in it. And we will connect you to your quantum self. That is the best version of you, because that version is out there. It's waiting for you to be realized. But sometimes we're so stuck in everyday life that we've maybe lost a sense of self-worth. We have lost a confidence in ourselves. And we're maybe so programmed by everything that happened in the past that we no longer believe it's possible that change is there for us. But it is. And I would love to show you that quantum self that's out there for you so that you can actually experience it in your own body. I think knowledge is great. We can read a bunch of books, we can go to lots of schools and have it up here, but when we don't embody that knowledge, when we don't bring it into our everyday lives, I think it's pretty worthless. So in the Quantum Voyage, it's all about your experience. And I think maybe the best news I have for you right now is that there's been one big change for the Quantum Voyage. Do you want to hear it? You will no longer have to sit in your meditations. We're going to ask you all to bring your yoga mats, even your camp bed if you want, your cushions, your blankets, and make it real cozy. Because in this Quantum Voyage, we are going to have lying down meditations. I think very often the hurdle to meditations is a feeling of discomfort in the body. And we want to take that out of the equation so that you can really relax so deeply that your brains can go into the theta brainwave state. That is the most healing brainwave state to be in, not only for your brain, but for your entire body. Because when we do so, stress leaves our body and we're able to connect to intuition, to our quantum selves, and to all those healing vibrations that are out there. When we do this in a group of like-minded people, so people who are all following the same goal to become their best version of selves, that vortex of energy that is created in the room or even online is tangible. And it is so much easier to have the experience if you're maybe new to this subject. So I really hope I'll be able to see you there too. And that is also in Italian. So we always teach in English, but there you will be hearing the Italian translation simultaneous. It's a fabulous experience because it's more like a party. It's 4 days of high vibrations, 4 days of really connecting to the quantum field, and the experiences and the results people have are quite astonishing. I'd like to give you an example. I've had a guest in Asheville just before I left, and this was a son with his mom, and mom was just recovering from a brain cancer operation. So she was in a pretty bad state, and I'd invited them to come to the sanctuary in Asheville to help them heal. And when we started connecting to her quantum self, although she was paralyzed on her entire right side of the body, she started after day 2 noticing a feeling in that part of the body that was actually before paralyzed. And when she kept reconnecting to her quantum self, together with all the other magic we did, she started not only getting a feeling back in her right hand, for instance, but after 2 weeks now, she's told me she's actually able to move her leg. For me, this is a miracle. I'm not saying this is also possible for you, but I am saying similar things are possible for you. Because when you tune into your quantum self, the impossible becomes possible. And when intuition guides you, the exact right thing that you need in that moment will happen for you. So I really hope you'll take this chance and come and join us. Hi, Inge, good to see you too. Do you have any questions? Is there something I can do for you to tune into your intuition? Is there a question you have about unshakable faith, about what quantum journeying is? Then please tap it into the comments and I'll be happy to answer it. In the meantime, I'd like to tell you how incredibly grateful I am for you to be part of this beautiful Joy Tribe that we are in. And I want you to know that you matter. Because you see, in quantum, it's not about how big you are, how many followers or friends you have, how successful you are. It's about the amount of impact that you make. And if you think about it, that impact can be one person. It's not about how many things you do. It's about that one thing that you do in the right moment that brings you the impact that is necessary. And when we come from the right place, when we're tuned into the wisdom of our hearts and our intuition, that will evolve and unfold very effortlessly. And then we can step out of this rat race of willing it, of working with willpower and forcing our way through life, and rather flow with the universe and feel supported in our decisions. And I'd like that for you to happen too. So, my loves, I'm not seeing any questions. You must be feeling really satisfied. So thank you for being my friend. Thank you for being here. And I look forward to seeing you at one of our upcoming events. Mille baci, 1000 küsse, lots of kisses. Bye-bye. See you soon.